Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at graphing radical functions. So let's take a look at this. So down here we have two functions that we're going to graph using Desmos. You can use a TI-83 or a TI-84 to do this as well, but we're going to be using Desmos, so I think it's a little bit easier. So let's type in this first function, and we can type those roots in using our little calculator down here. So we can say square root of 1/4 x, and you can see what the function looks like. Now, Desmos does, or the problem does ask us to find the domain and range of this function. So we can see that the domain, the x values, start at 0 and move to the right. So our domain will be x is greater than 0, x greater than 0. In our range, you can also see it starts at 0 and goes upward. So our range is also going to be y greater than 0. So domain x greater than 0, y greater than 0. All right, let's look at the next one. The next one is g of x equals -3 cube root of x. Now to put cube roots in here, I don't know if Desmos allows for or has a function built in for those roots. So we're going to have to put this in exponential form. So we can write it like this, -3. And then we're going to write x, and we're going to put a power in now. And the power for cube root is 1/3, right? You put the exponent that's up in the top right, which there isn't anything, so that's a 1, over this number right here by the root, which is in this case a 3. So we can write x to the 1/3, which is the same as cube root of x, and we can see our function here. So what is our domain and range? Well, it looks like on the x-axis, all of our values are included. So I think the domain is going to be all real numbers because all x's are included here. So all real numbers for our x. And then for the y, you can see it starts here and goes up, keeps going up and up and up, very slowly climbing upward forever. So you can keep zooming out, you can see it just slowly keeps going upward and upward and upward forever. So our range is also going to be all real numbers. It definitely doesn't go upward very quickly, but it does move upward and downward. So x is all real numbers, y is all real numbers for this function. So use Desmos to graph functions, figure out their domains and ranges. The next thing is transformations. I'm just going to go ahead and put the list of all transformations up here on the screen. So if you want to refer back to this while you're solving problems, here you go. So remember, we got horizontal translations, that's up and down, that's side to side movement. Vertical translations, that's your movement up and down. Reflections, remember there's two types of reflections, in the x-axis and in the y-axis. If the minus sign is right in front of the x, that's y-axis reflection. And if the minus sign is out front like this, then it's in the x-axis. Then we have stretches and shrinks. So let's look at these two problems here and identify what kind of transformations we're dealing with. So this +4 on the end of this one means that we're going to be moving up 4. You'll have to forgive my handwriting. I'm writing with a mouse. Okay, so up 4 here. And then this -3, usually we would say this is in parentheses, but in these cases it's inside the radical. So we consider that like the parentheses of other functions. So we can say this is inside the x or inside the parentheses while it's inside the radical. So that's going to be -3 is right 3. Okay, right 3. And doesn't look like there's any other transformations in here, so that's the only 2. Now for this one over here, we can see that there is no up or down movement, no left or right movement. There is a minus sign right in front of the x, so that's going to be a reflection. So we do have a reflection. And is it going to be in the x-axis or the y-axis? It's not out front, it's right in front of the x, so that means that it's going to be a reflection in the y-axis here. Y-axis. Okay, so that's that minus sign. And then we have an 8 out front. The 8 out front means that we are going to be stretching by a factor of 8. Ooh, it's so difficult to write with a mouse. We are stretching by a factor of 8. All right, stretching by a factor of 8 since we got that 8 out front. If it was a fraction, then it would be a shrink. So if it was a number between 0 and 1, it'd be a shrink. Okay. Example 3. So this is, they're giving us the transformations, and we just need to apply them. And we're going to say this is a vertical shrink. So just ignore that right there. All right, so we've got a shrink by a factor of 1/6. So this is what we start with. So if we have a shrink by a factor of 6, that means we're going to put the 1/6 out front. So we have 1/6, the cube root, that's supposed to be a 3, of x. Okay, so you can see we have our shrink right here. So we did that, shrink by a factor of 1/6. Then we have a translation 3 units to the left. 3 units to the left. 3 units to the left would be a plus 3 inside the radical, or inside what we would usually do is parentheses. Okay, and there we go. Here is our new function. So we'll call this g of x. G of x is 1/6 of the cube root of x plus 3. Here's our translation to the left, and here is our shrink. So we are good to go. All right, guys, that's all we're going to do in the video today. So just remember transformations, how to graph functions using Desmos or using a graphing calculator, identifying domain and range. And if you can do all of that, then you are good to go. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.